Alright, just looking to go over the Thursday night game results. Absolute chaos. Nathan Cleary is gone for next week, and he's scored a 5-pointer this week, which is just devastating for over 55% of teams. If we come and look over here, his active ownership is 67%, so supposedly 33% of teams don't own him, but I'm not too sure where their rank would be. But there could be a few teams that are going to be flying up the ranks now if you don't own them. But we'll start at the top here. Brian To'o and Alamotti both come away with 2 tries. Score in the 60s. This is Alamotti was actually playing on the wing. It was like a late change, and To'o was playing on the other wing. So standard games from them. When they get 2 tries, they're going to get a good score. They're probably just a little bit too expensive to be jumping on. Alamotti's had a decent start to the season. He's averaging 52.3, and I think if you start the season with him, you're going well, but I wouldn't be jumping on now. Just feels like, they're not going to have Cleary next week. The Penrith just don't feel like they're at full strength, and I don't know if they're going to be scoring 2 tries every week, so yeah, I'd look to avoid there. Isaiah Yeo comes back from his 30-pointer with a 60 points in 80 minutes. He looked like he was going to be on for a bigger score there, but there was just so many stoppages near the end of the game there that every minute was going by and he just wasn't doing extra tackles, and they were trying to win the game, so he was sort of being that link-up man, wasn't really taking any carries, just being like a ball player there. So if you don't own Yeo, count yourself lucky. I think he was on for 70 points there, but he's put up a 60, so he should be around that 800k mark next week, and I think he's almost in buy territory, and he's gonna be very high on my watch list to bring in quite soon, as we know that he can be a 64 to 66 point player when he's getting the 80 minutes, and I can't see that stopping at all this season. So yeah, no, only a couple negative stats, 1-6 again, and 1 penalty, no miss. So pretty clean game from him. But apart from that, no one else scored over 50 here. So yeah, this game did have a lot of stoppages, a lot of scrums, penalties, knock-ons. So it just wasn't a game where you're going to pick up fantasy points, even though there was 5 tries to 4. But it's just one of those games where you're just going to have to, if you have one of these players, you probably just write it off as a bit of an anomaly game, and you'd expect your players to improve their scoring going forward. But Lindsay Smith, he's still outscoring his price, 49 in 56 minutes, so he's had a decent start to the season. If you took a flyer on him, he did start pretty expensive, so yeah, 600k to start the season. One that felt like a little bit risky. You weren't too sure how many minutes he was going to get, but it feels like he's in the Fisher-Harris role now, even maybe a couple extra minutes there. But Papali and Liam Henry both got pretty low minutes, so I feel like Lindsay Smith minutes are pretty capped here, and I wouldn't be looking to jump on now, as there doesn't really feel like there's any upside. It just feels like you're going to be paying for what you get with him. Katoa, 47 with a try. I did see some news that he might have hurt his knee late in the game, so just wait for reports on that before looking at him. But he's way too expensive to be jumping on anyway. But if you own him in draft, keep an eye out for that, because he may have picked up an injury that hasn't been reported yet. But fairly standard game from him, just possibly want a little bit more run meters. And the try, he didn't have a line break with his try, so was probably looking at about a 40-point score without a try, which isn't the best at 700k. Casey McLean, we were hoping for him to drop a bit of cash after his HIA in round 1, but that is not going to be really happening. He's going to be rising in price to around 395k here. He scored a try. He actually wasn't on much for most of the game, and then when Penrith scored their late flurry of tries, he got the 2 try assists. He picked up a try and fixed his score, really. So possibly one that we may have to just ignore for now. But yeah, it's tough, because I think he actually got moved to centre, so At the price, if you were jumping on, you'd probably expect, or you'd probably want to be expecting a high 30s average, and I'm just not sure. I know he's still only 18 years old. It's tough, but one to keep an eye on. Another one to keep an eye on would be Isaac Tago here. He's almost bottomed out, and we know he has the potential to average 50. Currently only averaging 31. So he's still going to drop about 10k this week, and he could be a potential option to look at if you think Penrith are going to hit a run of form. I think for me, I'd probably give it another week just to see another solid score backed up here from him. But again, 2 try assists, he's not going to get that every week, but you'd be hoping for a few extra run meters from him there. Josh King played the most middle minutes for the Storm in their prop rotation, and yeah, just normal Josh King things. His PPM's not too good. Scored 41, which is about exactly where he's priced, so yeah, a relevant player there. Wouldn't be worried about him. Harry Grant, if you stuck with him, you'd be very disappointed in this one. He had a very hot start. He had a tackle break and an offload. He was on about 10 points in 4 minutes. But just the missed tackles are letting him down. And barely any run meters in this one. Tackle numbers are good, but yeah, it's fairly concerning as a Grant owner. But I feel like I probably still would hold strong. Historically, in the recent history, it's always a tough game against Penrith. You know, most players don't get their best scores against Penrith, no matter who they have in their team. So I'd probably still look to hold Harry Grant, because even if he drops a bit of cash, that'll be the point where other coaches that don't own him are going to look to pick him up. And if you sell him to someone else, it just feels like a sideways move. The only person I'd maybe look at is Connor Watson, but we're still going to have to see how he goes today. He may not play the 80 minutes. We'll just have to see. Liam Henry, another very solid game from him in limited minutes, and he looks like someone where if he just gets that extra 10 to 15 minutes, he could be a keeper. He plays with so much energy. 5 tackle breaks here, no negative stats. He wants to be in all the tackles. Just a young player that has very promising fantasy prospects, and I'd be keeping an eye on his minutes. He's going to still drop a little bit of cash here, but as soon as we get a glimpse of him playing, over 40 minutes, I'd be pretty keen to have a look at him in closer detail. Liam Martin, pretty standard game from him. 80 minutes, 38 points, about where he's priced, or even a bit lower. So yeah, wouldn't be looking at going into him. He'll be playing Origin this year, so yeah, you'll only have him for the next kind of 6 to 8 weeks, and he'll be gone. And he's definitely not a keeper. Tui Kamikamica, 38 points in 46 minutes. He probably played a few extra minutes than expected here. I'm not too sure why he's playing more minutes than Utoi Kamanu, but yeah, just one I wouldn't even sniff at here. Probably not going to play this kind of minutes week to week, and yeah, he'll make a bit of money, but he's just, he's not one of their top rotation players. Probably always starting from the bench, so I wouldn't be looking at him. Pappenhausen, 36 points in 80 minutes, and that included a lot of attacking stats. So he got the try there. He covered the goal kicking for Meany, who's injured. Try assist, run meters down a little bit from what you'd be hoping for, but Meany is confirmed to be out for 1 to 2 months, so you'd presume Pappenhausen does take the goal kicking. Unless Wishart does, but I think he was on the field when Pappenhausen was kicking, so I don't think he'll be taking it. But we'll have to see, because one of Pappenhausen's attempts was pretty bang average, so we'll just have to see how that goes. But yeah, there was also talk that he picked up an injury as well, so another thing we'll just have to wait and see if we hear any news. But if it is confirmed that he is playing next week and he will be goal kicking, he is potentially one that we can look at, but it doesn't feel great. But possibly, I'd probably it would be more appealing to jump on someone like Scott Drinkwater. What am I looking at here? His price. So he's currently priced at 42. 36 points. So he's probably going to be priced at 43 upon lockout. You'd really be wanting to average near that 50 mark, which is possible, but one to keep an eye on. Teamless. Mitch Kenny, very standard score from him, 36 and 80 minutes, wouldn't be going there. Jack Cole, as soon as Cleary went off, he sort of took over the halfback role, so picked up 318 kick meters here, 101 meters gained as well, so that's impressive. Only 4 missed tackles, along with 3 errors. Could be worse, and 24 tackles made, so you'll take that any day. He puts up a 36, which you could consider looping in. I feel like I probably would play Sandon Smith over a 36. Just, he always a good chance of snagging a try against the Warriors. But anyway, the positive thing for Jack Cole owners is he's going to make 23k this week, and his break even should be lower than 15 next week, so it's promising, and I can't see him getting dropped unless they decide to go with Schneider and Blaze Talangi. But to be fair, Talangi looked pretty rusty as well. Utuikamanu, just 35 points in 40 minutes. Not too sure what's going on here. Maybe Bellamy's just easing him into the team, but he is an absolute no-go at the price when he's only playing this many minutes. And as soon as we see an uptick, I'd probably look at him because his PPM is pretty good. So yeah, ignore for now, but keep an eye. Blaze Talangi came on for Cleary when he got injured, scored 35 points. Just looked rusty. And I would wait till we see team list to discuss him, because I don't think he's going to be named, or he could be named as the utility, which isn't much use for fantasy. Leota, 35 and 37, just not very relevant, wouldn't be looking at him. Sean Bloor, only 34 points in 80 minutes, you'd be expecting more from him, but just felt like everyone's score was a bit lower than you were hoping, so I wouldn't be too worried about Bloor. I'd probably be holding strong. He loves an offload. I think he's got one to hand, one to ground here. Just needs a few more base stats, which I think will come. And he should look to average in those high 40s if he's playing the 80 minutes. Sorensen, he's not playing the 80, just 34 points in 62 minutes. I would not be looking to buy him at all. And if you do own him, I'd be looking to sell. Xavier Coates, 33 with a try. Standard Xavier Coates stuff. Wouldn't be looking at him. Liero, 32 and 80 minutes. Pretty low game for him. Solid minutes as well. He's just one that's priced at what you're probably going to get, and I wouldn't be looking at him. Munster, 32 points in 80 minutes, and that includes 3 try assists, so pretty concerning. If you own Munster, no tackle breaks, no offloads, so feels like he's not taking on the line as much, or maybe they just wrapped him up. Obviously, once again, hard to score fantasy points against Penrith. Kick meters down, but speaking of kick meters, he may pick up some extra ones, because it sounds like Jerome Hughes has broken his hand and he'll be out for 3 to 6 weeks, so you'd presume the half pairing will now be Munster and Wishart, so they're probably going to have maybe like a 60-40 split to Wishart of the kick meters. His run meters are probably down a little bit, but yeah, Munster, I feel like you could probably give him another week just to see how he goes with Wishart, and then consider selling after that. But yeah, my advice would be hold him for another week. Let's see who they're playing. They've got the Dragons, so yeah, you never know what Dragons team is going to show up, so I'd definitely hold for that, but wouldn't be looking to jump on at the moment. Jerome Hughes, so yeah, 805k, just puts up the 31 points, and his price is in free fall, and yeah, he's going to be a sell, I would say. If he's out for even 3 weeks, I would sell him, because you probably shouldn't have started the season with him. If you did, I'd be correcting that mistake and bringing in the likes of Jamal Fogarty or Jamie Humphries if you don't have him. And yeah, that's big repercussions for the Melbourne team. But luckily they have Wishart as a very handy replacement in the halves there. Alec McDonald, 28 and 40 minutes, standard from a bench prop, wouldn't be looking at him. Jack Howarth was fairly popular this week. I think he was one of the top players bought in. Yeah, 2.65% of teams purchased him, and they would be fairly disappointed with this. Still going to make a little bit of money, but at the price, you'd be really hoping for high 30 scores. And his base here, 150 run meters. It's just his tackle numbers are down a bit. But I wouldn't worry too much. I think if you've bought him, you bought him for a reason. You're expecting those scores, and when you buy a player that plays in the centres, they're not going to score as consistently as other positions. So he scored 60 in round 1, 26 in round 3. I would definitely be holding. Wouldn't look to sell at all, and just, they've got the Dragons next. He could easily snag a try, and I wouldn't be worried about that. But I also wouldn't be buying him now, as there's probably going to be better options around. Grant Anderson got injured, thought it was an ACL, and then he came back on the field at the end. So he will probably cover Nick Meaney's centre spot for the next 1 to 2 months. And if he was 250k, I'd say he would be a pretty good buy. But at the price, 400k, I wouldn't be looking to jump on. He just hasn't been much of a relevant player for fantasy, and I don't think he is, there's no way that he would get up to the 550k mark, so I wouldn't be looking to jump on there. Tom Jenkins played fullback. I think that's probably the first game he's ever played in his career at fullback, and I don't think he's going to be there much longer. I'm not too sure why Dane Laurie missed out, but I wouldn't be looking at Jenkins. If he is named next week, then maybe we have to have a second look, but I'm not going to think about him until Tuesday if he is named, because I just don't think it's going to happen. Wishart, so he scored 24. He's going to be priced at 514k-ish, which is about, let's see, I think Safearth's priced around that. I know, he's only that. Let's go with Gilbert. Okay, so 514k. I'd say that's priced around 39 points. So he will be playing halfback for the next 3 to 6 weeks, priced at 39. If we look at his average from last year, because he could be someone that we could look at buying. 5'8". So he averaged 54.5 at his 5/8 games last year, and that is with only 60 kick meters average per game, which is very low and could be higher playing with Munster rather than Hughes. So Wishart is one that we're going to have a serious consideration about, because I just looking at their draw as well, Dragons, Manly, Warriors, Dolphins, Rabbitohs, if he gets those 5 games, averages 50, I think he could be a serious consideration. Nick Meaney, broken jaw, very sad news for him, but he's going to be out, and I'm going to be guessing he is replaced by Grant Anderson, and Meaney would be an instant sell. Papali'i, just the 23 minutes here, very, very bizarre. Maybe he's sort of easing back in from an injury. Not too sure, but his price is going to fall nicely, and as soon as his minutes uptick, just like Liam Henry, I think he's going to be someone that we need to seriously consider as well. So there's quite a few players here, their prices are dropping, and add them all to your watch list. Luke Garner, just playing off the bench, 29 minutes, I wouldn't be looking at him at all. Nas, it sounds like he's going to miss next week with a concussion. He's coming back from injury as well, so his minutes are just way too low to be considering. And then Cleary, just the 5 points in 7 minutes. He was looking early signs like he was going to pick up a nice score. He's doing the big kick meters, Wait, probably too early to tell, but if we put this in here, looks like he's going to go down to 780k, 72k loss. And he won't be playing next week, but by all reports, at the moment, he will be playing in round 5, which means I would say he's 100% a hold unless your team cannot field a full squad. Then I would look to sell whoever else isn't playing that you have, because even if you sell Cleary, his break even will be, 100 next week or something like that. You are going to want him back, and you will, as soon as he comes back, you're probably going to want to buy him back. So it's just up to you whether you think it's worth spending the trades and avoiding losing, say, an extra 30 to 50k, but in doing that, you're going to not get his score from when he comes back originally in round 5, presumably. So yeah, we'll just have to see if he is confirmed to be fine for round 5. I'll go over my thoughts close to the time, because we still have to get through a full weekend of games. But yeah, that'll do it for this one. Looking forward to Friday night games. Up the Waz.